Sparklings! So today is going to be the first of a series of videos I was going to do for the month of October, so I will be bumping up to 2 videos a week instead of 1. So most of these are horror themed, and to begin with, I figured I should cover Scream Queens, something I haven't properly done before. In this case, I mean women actors that are in a minimum of 4 horror films in their career, if not more, and they're kind of known for them in one way or another. So to start off, I figured I would include the pretty famous Jamie Lee Curtis. She's known for Halloween, Halloween 2, The Fog, and Prom Night when it comes to her horror repertoire, let alone others. So of course you can't forget her, especially since her mother was in, well, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho as one of the original Scream Queens. And the only reason Janet Leigh did not make it on this list is she has not been in enough horror movies for it to quite count. The next one that I have to include, especially for those who like the campy, trashy, violent things out of the 80s, would be Linnea Quigley. She is probably best known for her role as Trash in Return of the Living Dead, in Night of the Demons, and other fun things. She's been in a slew of kind of trashploitation type of pictures in the 1980s that are all of a violent or horror bent. She's kind of known in her roles for taking her clothes off, and admittedly no one's complaining because she looks amazing, and her general vivacity towards the whole process is part of her charm. Another one, a little bit less classically pretty, but definitely been in plenty of horror films, would be Dee Wallace. I was first introduced to her through Cujo. She's also been in The Howling, she's been in Lords of Salem, and Critters. And so there was no way that you couldn't include her. Barbara Crampton, most notably known for Stuart Gordon fame with things such as From Beyond and Reanimator, then went on after a long hiatus into newer films such as You're Next and We Are Still Here. And then one of my personal favorites, mostly because she's really adorable, would be Katharine Isabelle, known for American Mary, Ginger Snaps, and Freddy vs. Jason, let alone 88, Girl in Photographs, and other such things. Another one that is not quite my favorite, but has been featured in enough things I figured she would count, would be Abigail Breslin for Haunter, Final Girl, and Zombieland, most notably, let alone being in the okay series Scream Queens. My thoughts on the TV show are a little bit iffy. I think it's entertaining, but also really terrible. A lot going on in that show. I don't know how I feel about it being renewed for a 2nd season. Anyway, another fun one would be Heather Langenkamp, who you cannot forget, mostly just because of her role in Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 3, and 6, and in another Wes Craven movie, Shocker. Adrienne King from the Friday the 13th series is another one that's not to be forgotten, let alone Danielle Harris, who pretty much got her entire career started because of Halloween 4. She was also in Halloween 5, both of Rob Zombie's remakes, See No Evil 2, and directed her own horror comedy called Among Friends, which I haven't had the opportunity to see just yet. Another one would be Amber Heard. I know her mostly from The Ward, Zombieland as the cute neighbor, and All the Girls Love Mandy Lane. Another great one, would, well, not so great, but definitely featured enough things to count, would be Danielle Panabaker, who I knew initially as a kid from Disney Channel movies, but she also ended up in things like The Ward, the Friday the 13th remake, and Girls Against Boys. Another fun one, if you like the film series, would be Ashley Lawrence from the Hellraiser films. She's been in enough of those movies for it to count as a proper Scream Queen. Even though Hellraiser is not quite my thing, I do respect it as a good film franchise. Another one that actually is a favorite is Chloe Grace Moretz, or at least I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was in the very lackluster Carrie remake. She was in Dark Shadows, which is admittedly far more comedic than it is horror-based. She was in Let Me In, and the Amityville horror remake, which was also rather lackluster. And then the last one on this list is the pretty famous, by this point, Sheri Moon Zombie, and her film credits are all of Rob Zombie's films, including House of Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, Lords of Salem, both of the Halloween remakes, and his new feature 31 that I can't wait to see. So this is kind of a scatterbrain list because everything I do is apparently scatterbrained as far as I'm concerned. But these are all just female actors that I have taken a particular liking to because every time that I see them show up in another film, I was like, great, they're here because they care about it, or they're here because they want to do it. And any person that gets their start in horror and loves it and stays in it, I always really like seeing that kind of thing happen in film. So I figured I would do my version of a Scream Queens list. I do recommend looking into any of these actresses and seeing if there are other horror titles of theirs that you like. If there are any of these films that you haven't seen, I do suggest looking into them. Anyway, until next time, Darklings.